not impossible.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next couple of items that we're looking at here is we're going to take some information about writing vectors, magnitude of vectors, angle of vectors, and we're going to look at writing what's called the components of a vector. And when I ask for components of a vector, what I'm asking for is how much of a vector is working in the x direction only, and how much of a vector is working in the y direction only. So we break it apart, and we look at just the x direction part of it and just the y direction part of it, and when we write it, we use those unit vectors to help us write that out. So let's suppose that we have the vector that is 10, negative 3. And let's call this vector b. So when I look at the components of this vector, I'm going to know if I move over 10 and up 3, how can I break this up? What would it look like?
Well, since we're square rooting, we can just do the same thing in the...
Well, there's a couple ways you're actually going to write this. One of the first ways...
0, 0, negative 3, I don't know.
Remember I said we moved over 10, I should say down 3. Over 10 and down 3. So one way we can write this in component form is we can just say 10 I hat minus 3 j hat. Remember, 10 units in the I direction, or the x direction, and negative 3 units in the j or y direction. So that's one way we can write it as its components. And that may or may not be all that helpful for us, but these two are equivalent. But there's also a trigonometric form in terms of these components. So this is kind of a unit vector form. We also have a trig form. By the way, any questions about this part of the form? Is that pretty clear as to...
I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If I had that vector 9 and 7 originally, wouldn't it be just 9 I hat plus 7 j hat?
And then
I
what's
just
the
want to know why
answer?
we can use both of them when I hat is, vector 1, 0, and then j hat is 0, 1.
No, that's
If I thought about 1, 0, if I take 10 times 1, 0, that means 10 units this way and no units up or down, correct?
Oh.
And if I take negative 3 times j hat, it's negative 3 left and right. I'm sorry, it's 0 left and right, and it's negative 3 down.
I thought that you would multiply it and then it would be like 0 on both sides because of this.
Nope. All right. In a trig form, the way this one looks is this vector b is going to be the following. The magnitude of vector b times the cosine of theta I hat plus the sine of theta times j hat. And so we have to go back and look at how to find the magnitude,
Can we just do it one way?
how to find the angle. We'll actually have to work on it in both ways for different parts of the information given. Sometimes we're given it in the information that looks like I hat, j hat real fast.
So that's a plus, not minus.
Well, it depends on the angle theta.
Oh, this isn't... Okay, right.
Yeah, it's not the same problem. But we will look at it for the same problem. First I need to find the magnitude of this vector. How do I find it?
Square root of 10 and negative 3? Or would it the hat?
Well, I hat squared is just 1, and j hat squared is just 1. We'll discover that more in detail in the next class periods. So 10 squared plus negative 3 squared. Yeah. 100 square root of 109?
10.4.
You said 10.4? Okay. There's the magnitude part. What's the second piece I need to know?
The angle.
How did I find that angle? So going back to tangent, or theta equals the inverse tangent. And for our purposes, it's negative.
3 over 10.
So the inverse tangent of negative 3/10 would happen to be
Negative 16.7.
do we really want to write negative 16.7 degrees?
Do I know how?
No.
really don't. If I take negative 16.7 degrees and add 362x, is that going to land me in the right spot?
Yeah.
If I add 360 to this angle, that'll then be 340.
43 point.
Yeah.
I forget it's finishing. So if I add 360, which is a unit circle trip, 343.3 degrees, that's a positive angle that puts me in the same spot.
Does it always have to be positive angle?
Not always, but it's more convenient when it is. So vector B is equal to 10.4, or more exactly the square root of 109, times the cosine of 343.3 I hat plus the sine of 343.3 j hat. And that's another way in the trig form to represent that vector B. They each have their advantages. That's all you have to write at this point. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. Depends on what you know already.
Is there I hat and J hat in the calculator?
No.